Let's get more information on the ban on the eviction moratorium. Joining us now is the Communications and Events Manager at Bread for the City, Kenrick Thomas, and real estate attorney Andrew Lieb. Welcome to both of you, gentlemen. Andrew, I'll start with you. How does the Supreme Court's decision affect renters and landlords?
Well, in the decision itself, it says it affects 80% of renters in the United States that are behind on rent. They say between 6 and 17 million people are now subject to eviction. That being said, there are still rights for states, and it says that in the opinion, to have their own moratoriums.
And Kenrick, do you expect the request and need for food to go up at Bread for the City now that we know so many people may end up out of their homes?
Absolutely. And I think this is an example of the mistake that a lot of people have been making. A lot of people think because businesses are opening up, events are starting to happen, that the pandemic is in our rearview mirror. And that's not the case. We still have a lot of people who are still in need. A lot of people still need assistance, and they're still struggling because of the pandemic. And we do expect for the request for food to increase at Bread for the City because of the decision that was made.
Andrew, is it possible that we're on the verge of a huge crisis where we could see a huge amount of homelessness across the country?
I don't think it's a possibility, it's a definite. We're going to have a major crisis, a tsunami of evictions that are going to happen. And this is the start of it. We've been having for a year and a half approximately no landlords evicting in the residential sphere. All of a sudden, you're going to have people with a health crisis. That was the basis of why CDC tried to do the eviction moratorium in the first place.
And Kenrick, what are your thoughts? I mean, you're trying to help people. Your organization, of course, has already been helping so many people. What do you expect? Do you expect an influx of people, and are there organizations like yours prepared to handle this?
Well, at Bread for the City, we have been working tirelessly to be able to help the people who may be impacted by this. When you think about it, our legal clinic has been partnered with the Cancel Rent DC Coalition, and we've been working together to make sure that we can get the government to cancel rent. We believe that once people actually get to see what's going on, there are going to be a lot of rent that's going to be past due that they were not able to pay because of the pandemic, and they're going to be getting evicted, which is something that we don't want. I think what's in place now is not here to help our people, and when you look at the numbers, it's a lot of our Black and brown people who are actually going to be impacted by this. So Bread for the City, we have been working really hard. We've been partnering with a lot of coalitions in DC to make sure that we're able to protect them and that they're able to stay in their house even after this is over.
Andrew, what do you think people should be doing at this point to prepare? Is there anything they can do?
I think that's a great question. And to the point that was just made, all the moratoriums historically in the United States have said that they cannot cancel rent. They can only delay the enforcement of rent to be constitutional. So what we're going to have, just like he just said, is lots of enforcement of rent proceedings. So what should a tenant do? They should contact the landlord now. Try and work something out. Because a landlord doesn't want to go through a 6-month, year process and have damaged property. What a landlord wants to do is forgive some rent to get the keys today.
Kenrick, what about you? If there are people who think that they may be on the verge of homelessness and possibly going hungry, what should they do?
Well, they need to reach out to Bread for the City if they live in Washington, D.C. And if they live in other parts of the country, you want to definitely go to lawservices.org. I think that's going to be really important because what that's going to do is going to help them find different resources, free resources that they'll be able to use to be able to find out how they'll be able to stay in their homes. I think what's happening right now is very unfortunate. It is not right and it was not the right decision. I think we need to continue to protect tenants. Tenants have rights. Tenants have a right to stay in their home, and no one deserves to be living on the streets. When you think about it, tenants have about 10 to 5% of the time they actually have representation in court. When you think about it from the landlord's perspective, landlords are 90% of the time represented with a lawyer in court. So tenants, a lot of the times, they don't have the proper backing to be able to fight a lot of their cases. And that's why Bread for the City is here to help. We believe that there's resources out there for them to use, and they definitely need to reach out to make sure that they're able to get those proper resources.
Absolutely. We hope everybody's able to access resources. Gentlemen, thanks to both of you, Communications and Events Manager at Bread for the City, Kenrick Thomas, and Real Estate Attorney Andrew Lieb. Thank you so much.